Welcome back.
Okay.
What's the status of your case with the EFCC?
Well, as far as I'm concerned, the matter is almost over. We've been on it for almost 7 years now. They started with preferring charges against me on the 19.5 billion intervention fund. Then they realized that the intervention fund had been pillaged before I got there, and I was one of the people that actually exposed the crime, and they dropped all charges on me and charged other people. Then it went into some other issues, and at the end of the day, they came up with charges of what they described as money laundering and so on and so forth. Initially, they said 200 million, then they said 99 million, and now, from what I understand, because they've closed their case, they're talking about they have evidence of, I think, 2.5 million, which they claim was money was laundered. Now that's where we are. They've closed their case. We're about to make a no-case submission, go to court ourselves to say there is no case to answer, and I'm glad that it's almost coming to an end.
The general consensus is that it looks like the EFCC will be more or less withdrawing their case and saying they have no case. There is suspicion that there's a link between, let me finish, between the fact that the EFCC is now withdrawing their case and the fact that you're now back into your family fold of the PDP.
I have been fighting this matter for 7 years. When I was in the PDP, when I was outside of the PDP, and now that I'm back in the PDP, there's no question of withdrawing any case. I wouldn't even want them to withdraw a case. This case was dead from the start. If people cared to come to court, they would see there was no evidence of any wrongdoing. It was political persecution from beginning to end, orchestrated by individuals. Some are dead, some are still alive, some are within the corridors of power, some are outside the corridors of power now. We know who they are. And for me, I learned a lot from this, that you need to be extra careful with people and always assume that nobody's your friend, because people always assume the worst. The good news is that as far as I'm concerned, this matter has almost ended. They are not withdrawing any case. They have presented their case as best as they can. They have been fairly consistent. They didn't withdraw charges, because if they had withdrawn charges when I came back,
what I understand is they're not bringing in any witnesses, and that is deliberate.
They have closed their case. But what I will tell you is that no deals were done. There is no question of withdrawing any case. There is no question of being soft on me. The matter was prosecuted to the full extent of the law, and the matter has almost come to an end. And at the end of it all, we'll present a no-case submission. And I believe it will be thrown out after that.
Now, finally, I want to ask you, what place do you think ethnic nationalism has to play within a wider Nigeria? Because you make a big deal of the fact that you're Yoruba, you make a big deal of the fact that you are a Yoruba nationalist. Is there room for people to be ethnic nationalists?
I think there is. I mean, there are two worldviews about this. My view is that there most certainly is, and I don't think you can create an artificial state without any form of foundation. I see myself as a Nigerian, all well and good, and I'm proud of Nigeria. I've defended Nigeria, I've represented Nigeria, and I will always do so as long as Nigeria exists. However, within the context of Nigeria, I see myself as a Yoruba man, and I pride myself on the history of the Yorubas, politically, culturally, in terms of education and faith and so on and so forth, our tolerance, our liberalism. I think these are virtues that I'm very proud of. Does that mean I don't believe in Nigeria? No. What it means is this, that I believe every single ethnic nationality in this country, whether it be Fulani, Hausa, Igbo, or whatever, or including my own people, the Yorubas, ought to have equal representation, equal rights, and ought to be allowed to operate on a level playing field in the wider Nigerian space. And I believe that it would be wrong for us to renegade anyone to being second-class citizens.
Listening to you talk, one would assume that indeed the Yorubas in Nigeria are second-class citizens, and actually, on the contrary, they are part of the big three. The big three, because that there are other minorities in Nigeria that have, if you like, a better claim to being oppressed, to being marginalized, etc., etc. And yet, in your politics, you always seem to be bringing up this issue of the Yorubas.
It's not just my politics, the politics of people like Chief Awolowo, people like Chief Bola again, and virtually every key Yoruba leader, including my late father, including S.L. Akitola, all of us believe, and I'll tell you the view that I think holds sway in the Southwest. I don't speak for the Yorubas, but let me just tell you what I think many Yorubas feel, rightly so in my view, is that had it been that we were allowed to continue to develop at our own pace, we would have gone much further than we have gone in this country. The assertion and the allegation is that we have been held back. We have been held back in terms of political development, the economy, in terms of education, and so on and so forth.
But you've gone further
Sure.
than any other tribe
That's
in the
because
country.
we were so far ahead before.
Exactly.
That's because we had. That's because we were so
And
far
so it's
ahead.
very hard
No, no,
to
no.
sort of take
No, no.
your issue of being marginalized, being held back, when
All
you
right.
are clearly
All right.
head and
All right.
shoulders
All right.
above
All right.
the Igbos, the Hausa Fulanis, the Ijos, you know, the Tiv, because, you know, the Nigeria is made up of so many other groups.
Believe me, we would have gone so much further had we been allowed to develop at our own pace. And apart from that, look at what happened in the past. The perception is that Awolowo was stopped from being president because he was a Yoruba man. Abiola was stopped from being president and killed because he was a Yoruba man. You have to remember the June 12th thing. You have to also remember when Obasanjo came in, he refused to play the Yoruba card, some say rightly, and he treated everybody as being equal. When Yaradua came in, he set all that back, turned on our people again. That's the perception. And when Jonathan came in, the same thing happened until very, very recently. We are very sensitive about this. And we
control the economy.
No, we control the economy. We control the.
You've had, you know, leadership positions at the highest.
Yes.
You know,
I agree
positions.
with you.
There are tribes who cannot even
the top 20
claim
positions.
to
The
this.
top 20 positions in this country as we speak today. There is only one position that's filled by a Yoruba man, and that's the chief of staff in the villa. And I thank God for that. Now, that's not the fault of the PDP.
You've got ministers.
No, every state has a minister.
Yeah.
No, that's not enough. Every state has a minister. But if you have the top 20 positions in this country today, the reason why I might add, and I should say this in fairness to the president, to the government, that we don't have a Yoruba man as number 4 is because the leadership of the APC traded it off and gave it to a Fulani person who is there now. We would have had at least number 4. But the fact remains. The fact that the top 20 positions.
The president didn't make an appointment, and yet you want to blame the opposition.
No, the president.
That's what it sounds like.
No. The position of Speaker of the House.
Oh,
is
you're
not
talking
an
about the
appointment.
Speaker.
Yeah.
Okay.
Speaker is not an appointment. We our own people threw it
But
away. That is a fair assertion. The APC, Bola Tinubu, they threw that away and gave it to somebody else. So that's nobody's fault but ours. However, we could have had a number of other key appointments within the top 20. Well, I'm glad to say that in the last few months, we have a Yoruba man who is right at the center of power now. That is General Aborifa, who is chief of staff. And that's a good thing. That's one of the reasons why so many of us are excited about the PDP now.
If someone like you, you know, we talked about the sort of pedigree that you have, the sort of upbringing you've had. If someone like you still wants to, a certain extent, put tribe out there in terms of national politics and appointment, is there really hope that we will ever get to a Nigeria where actually where you come from is less important than who you are, what you do, your character, and the way you carry yourself?
We are a nation, not a tribe. That's the Yorubas. Now, secondly, we are a nation that we believe have been shortchanged by Nigeria ever since this contraption was established.
There's no evidence of that. You're the ones doing better than everybody.
There's plenty of evidence of it. We would have gone so much further had it not been for the fact that in terms of development, in terms of the economy, we would have gone. But that is not even the issue now. The issue now is, you spoke about what kind of background I'm supposed to come from. It's because I have that kind of background that I'm sensitive to the fact that my people don't feel too happy in a situation whereby, all the time it appears that we are being treated in a way that we should not be treated. We have been marginalized.
Isn't the answer...
We have been treated badly. We were treated badly under successive governments, and and unless we stand up for our rights, we'll continue to be treated badly.
Isn't the answer really to build a Nigeria where you come from is not relevant to how well you do?
That is the ideal.
Isn't that the ideal? And isn't it the responsibility of leaders such as yourself to make the ideal the reality?
That is the ideal, but we all know that it will not happen in the near future. Let's be frank with ourselves.
So let's stick to nationalists, our nationalists.
Let us respect the fact that we are different in many ways, but at the same time, accept the fact that we can come together, regardless of our differences, to move our country forward. It's simple and clear. It's only one thing we are asking for, and that is this. There should be a level playing field, equality of nationalities. There should be justice and equity meted out to people from all over the country, no matter how big, no matter how small your nationality or tribe is. That's all we're saying. Create a level playing field and everybody will flourish. But a situation whereby, you say, some people were born to rule, or that some people must have power because they own the power, or because they have the numbers and so on and so forth, and therefore they will hold it and subjugate everybody else. It's unacceptable to us. And that type of rhetoric stirs up the whole idea of Yoruba nationalism.
You have just finished speaking rhetoric, really. That's what
It's not
people
rhetoric,
say.
it's factual.
They will say to you,
It's factual.
you know, okay.
These are very serious issues. You see, you know, these are issues that touch the very soul of, I can speak for our people, of our people. When you look at our history, you look at what we've been through, people feel like, and as leaders, we have to reflect that opinion. Now, that doesn't mean to say I have anything against Northerners or Fulanis or anybody else. I have many friends, as you well know, from the other side of the Niger. But the truth of the matter is this: Nigeria is a contraption whereby you go to the center to fight for the best deal for your people. And that's what we're here to do. And we'll continue to do that as long as it is clear to us that our people are getting what their right and proper dues are.
Thank you very much, Mr. Femi Fani-Kayode, for
pleasure.
being a guest on Straight
Thank you
Talk.
very much.
Thank you.
Yeah.